Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Your Longevity Blueprint podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Marisol Teijeiro, who is known as the Queen of Thrones. She empowers people to own their throne, yes, their potty time, their purpose and passion in life. She's recognized as the creator of the easy and messy-less castor oil pack used to heal the gut, improve digestion, sleep, and most importantly, your hormone balance. So we're going to talk about those today. She teaches all over the world and is featured on various TV programs, including nationally syndicated NBC Bloom, as well as the Marilyn Dennis Show in Canada. She's a published author of SHIT, and now don't let that title scare you. This book is about the 3 stressless steps to connect, clear, and calm your digestion. So you know the topic of today. Welcome, Dr. Marisol.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Stephanie. This is amazing. I'm so happy to speak with your people.
Well, I'm excited to hear about castor oil packs because I'll be totally honest, I don't know a lot about them. And as I mentioned to you before we started recording, many of my patients have asked about them and where do we get them and what's the best, what's the best brand, whatnot. So we're going to weed through all that today, and you're going to tell us what to do, why we need them, and how they help. So before we get to that, tell us your story and how you even got involved with castor oil packs. How did you become the Queen of Thrones?
It's amazing. I'd love to share my story. It actually began with my mother. She was my complete inspiration. Sadly, I lost her 2 years ago, but she truly is though the reason why I do what I do. My mom, our entire life, I would see her suffering with 3 major things. She couldn't go to the bathroom. She was always having problems sleeping, and she was stressed. And this was constant growing up. I just constantly saw her waking up too early in the morning, getting hungry and eating. Because of it, she was gaining weight. She was like not feeling well in herself. She was feeling depressed. She'd be always complaining, trying to go to the bathroom. And it was just like one thing after the other. And I looked at her as a young child and just thinking, wow, like I want my mom to feel better, right? Like I just felt so my heart was breaking for her. And then what ended up happening was her going to the doctor and getting all these labels. So suddenly she had thyroid disease, and that was why she was, gaining weight. And suddenly she was having menopausal symptoms, and that's why she wasn't feeling comfortable and was depressed and not pooing well, and right, like
Not
everything.
sleeping, yeah.
Exactly. And then suddenly she got a dreadful diagnosis, and that was breast cancer. And it was advanced. It was stage 3. They weren't very hopeful because of where everything was spreading. And by this time, I was already older. I had already moved out of the house. I myself had been dealing with the same kind of symptoms that I saw my mom dealing with, which were sleeping problems. I couldn't poop properly. And then on top of it, I was super stressed. And with her diagnosis, though, something changed inside me so deeply. Because what I realized was that, these labels that my mother was getting, as they kept on getting worse and worse and worse, from thyroid disease to menopausal symptoms to, stage 3 breast cancer, they were the result of years of having problems with sleeping, not being able to go to the bathroom properly, and having stress. And I was seeing the exact same thing mirrored in my life as well, too, and in all of my patients. I put 2 and 2 together. And what ended up being the result of that was that I realized that it's not about going after the thyroid condition or going after the menopausal condition or going after, the breast cancer. Of course, there's more urgency with that breast cancer and we had to take action. However, what the 2 and 2 I put together was that it was the little things that were making the environment proactive to make these labels and these diseases and to keep on getting more and more conditions. And the thing was is I didn't want my mom to keep on getting more conditions. I didn't want to be a victim also and get more conditions myself. So I realized I had to focus on the basics, the absolute basics, which was how to poop better, how to sleep better, and how to stress less. And that literally brought me here. And how it connected me to castor oil packs, which is the really interesting part, was that for about 10 years before my mom had the diagnosis of cancer and me finding my way to naturopathic school and feeling better, was that people were telling me to do the castor oil packs. And I was totally against them. I was like, that's like woo-woo medicine. That's like not even real. What on earth is a rag with oil on it, putting that on the body? What on earth is that gonna do? I'm like, no, thank you. I'm just gonna keep on using my supplements. Like, that'll be better for me. But I wasn't ever getting better, and I was always feeling sicker. And then I also got really, really dreadfully sick, and I couldn't get out of bed. And I was in my final years of school, and I finally, at that point in time, was like, I'm doing all the right supplements. I'm eating all the right foods. I'm doing everything right. And why do I feel so bad? And why are the doctors telling me like, sorry, there's nothing that I can do for you? And so I went back to that moment where I first was told about castor oil packs. I decided to create one and sew one up because I'm pretty good at sewing and knitting. It's like one of my superpowers. And so, and it's one of the ways that I did get a bit of calm during naturopathic school. So I put it on my body. And what I realized when I put it on my body was that to me, it was almost like the sky opened up and the angels began to sing for the first time, because it was a moment in my life. Yeah, it was so powerful, Stephanie. It was a moment in my life where I actually felt supreme relaxation and connection. Like, and I felt like, wow, like this is what I've been wanting for a really long time. And I was trying to get it with like magnesium supplements and GABA supplements and all these relaxing supplements. And, they really weren't doing it, but doing this pack just changed my life. And so I got really religious with it, and I was doing it every single day. And sure enough, I rapidly healed from a chronic fatigue, which, most people, it takes them years, and they're always feeling like they have the symptoms for eons after it. But I recuperated in less than 3 months, and I made it my practice to do castor oil packs. All of my conditions were disappearing. I had PCOS for a hormonal condition, right? Like I had IBS, but they were literally evaporating. I then had no more problems with my hormones. My period went completely regular. My sleep patterns totally balanced, and my going to the bathroom became regular. Like I was just like, I'm so amazed by this simple little tool. And I guess because it just changed my life so dramatically, that I absolutely wanted to just delve in and find the research behind it, because I didn't want to give it to my mom or to my patients without actually being able to like discuss what it did. Because
Yeah.
at that moment, right? Like, don't you agree? Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
just,
That's why
take
I'm interviewing you, because I want to understand.
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you want to know, especially as a doctor, like doctors like you and I, who really care intimately about their patients and their people that they're caring for, right? Because like, I really want to be able to say, hey, look, like I've used this myself. I've done all the research, and this is why I firmly believe in this. So I literally spent years researching it. And by the time my mom had that cancer diagnosis, it was the first thing that I gave her. And when I gave it to her, the interesting thing is that she started calling it her miracle wrap. And I was like, because for her too, she's just struggled for so long with all those conditions, but she started seeing her pooping better, getting better, her sleeping getting better. And of course, her stress levels were better, even while fighting cancer. So it was just an amazing experience. And I just realized that, I needed to make this go worldwide, and really like honor the ancients, because in my research I started finding out that this wasn't something that was new at all. This is like grandmother's medicine, and even more so than grandmother's medicine, this is the medicine of the first doctors of the world. Like, we're talking Hippocrates used to use these, Pliny the Elder, who was a medicine man to the Roman emperors. Cleopatra was a huge fan of castor oil. All the medical doctors for the emperors of China. And it was just that these packs had lost their fame because they were messy to do, uncomfortable to do. So people stopped using them. And I just made it my mission to really get these packs to everyone and educate people about how to improve the 3 most important factors that mess up on everybody, every woman, which is your sleep, your stools, and your stress. And how when you work on those, so many of your conditions can literally go away.
So I have to ask that. So how does a castor oil pack help your poop?
It's such an amazing mechanism. So there actually are so many mechanisms, and this is the thing. When we get a supplement, we look at a supplement and we're like, it does this and a few little things, right? So, but like magnesium, make your bowels move, it'll calm you down, it'll work for time, right? But castor oil packs do like a bazillion different things, and this is where it's almost sometimes hard to digest, because you're like, how can something like that do so many different things? But it's a combination of both the oil and the actual compress that is placed on the body. So the oil in its own right is magical because it's known as the golden oil. And this is a very special, unique oil. Its biochemistry is completely unique. It's one of the only oils that has a molecule known as ricinoleic acid. So this is kind of like the geeky science part of it. So that's basically
Lay it on us. We want to know. Yeah.
okay, I'm giving you the geek stuff. But so this ricinoleic acid is this molecule. It's a triglyceride chain that you don't find in any other oil. It's completely unique to castor oil. And then castor oil also contains oleic acid, which is the same that's found in olive oil, and then linoleic acid, which is the same that is found in like sesame oil. So it has those beneficial actions as well too. But this ricinoleic acid allows the oil to be permeable through all those layers of skin, because most other oils can't permeate. They're all just topical emollients, like you're looking at a sweet almond oil, olive oil, maybe lanolin, like any of these other types of oils. They literally just stay on top. Coconut oil, they all just stay on top of the skin and they don't permeate deeply into the dermis.
You're just saying their molecular structure, like they're too big.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
To penetrate in. Okay. So, but
they're too big and they're missing
ingredient I cannot pronounce that you just said is small enough that it can.
Yeah, small
absorb.
enough.
Okay.
It has an alcohol molecule on it, which makes it movable and changeable and permeable, which is super cool. So you actually see it in lots of industries, but yes, it makes it smaller. It makes it able to go into the body. And so when you're doing a castor oil pack, what's happening is this oil on its own, that ricinoleic acid mimics what we get when we take fish oil. So if you take a fish oil orally, the end result of it is something known as a prostaglandin. And that prostaglandin is an anti-inflammatory. It does all these good things. It helps you go to the bathroom. It moves your bowels. Like fish oils are quite good. But ricinoleic acid is much stronger because it also mimics not only prostaglandin, but also progesterone. So then so when
never knew that. Yeah.
It's super neat.
And so that's why it helps you sleep, probably cutting to the chase.
Total part of it. Yeah. So you absorb it, it balances out the main action with the prostaglandin in the gut is that it makes you have a lot of peristalsis, so your bowels can actually move. And then because it reduces inflammation, it calms down the stress that's happening in the gut. And then castor oil also stimulates nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is an anti-aging, and that like stimulates circulation to the area. So now the gut and the liver and all the digestive organs are getting good blood flow so they can work better.
And you put it on your uterus too for uterine cramps?
Oh yes, we put it on the uterus for uterine cramps. We put it on the uterus for fibroids. We put it on the ovaries for cysts. We put it on anywhere. We even put it on the adrenal glands for people who are super stressed or having kidney problems.
Okay.
Like if are having detoxification issues via the kidneys, maybe heavy metal problems, we'll do like one night on the kidneys, one night on the liver, just to optimize the excretion pathways out of the body. Yeah, it really has so many variety of uses. And then not only that, but it also supports the recycling of glutathione in the body.
Great.
And that's just the oil. We haven't even gotten into the pack part. So because
back to glutathione, well, real quick, which is your master antioxidant, which is very important for detox. We've talked about that on some of the other episodes. So you're saying castor oil packs is helping your body recycle, reuse, kind of like charging a battery, charging up that glutathione so that it can continue to be used throughout the body.
What a wonderful analogy. And that's why it's important to do the castor oil packs regularly to keep the charge up, right? Because you're charging up your battery. I love that analogy. It's so good. But yeah, it's a super key to cleansing and detoxification and healing from the liver and the digestion and the toxins that are affecting us on a regular basis, right? Especially for those people who are, say farmers, right? Live on farms. They're exposed to pesticides. They're exposed to chemicals. They're exposed to so much that they really absolutely need strategies every day that are helping their body to cleanse and optimizing those processes, right? Super important. And then the other aspect is the pack. So the pack, although it might look like just a rag or just like a wrap, like my mom said, the miracle wrap, it actually is manufactured and created using all of science, like dermatological science, on how you stimulate the nerves that are on the skin. Because we have reflexes from the skin that go into the internal organs and that feed back up into the nervous system, and specifically the relaxed nervous system state. The very best hack to get your body cleansing better is simply just to move your body into a relaxed state more often. Because neurologically and physiologically, when you're in the relaxed state, all the blood flow is going to the internal organs, so that therefore you have more nourishment, you got more glutathione, you have things just working better because they get blood flow, right?
And they heal, right? That's when the healing takes
There
place.
you go. Exactly. So when you go into the relaxed state, so when you put on a castor oil pack on the body, because it's covering so much aspects of the abdomen, you're getting contact with the vagus nerve, which is incredibly important to stimulate the sympathetic system. You're getting contact with all the receptors on the skin that all communicate with the liver. They communicate with the large intestine. They communicate with the stomach, the pancreas, the gallbladder. I mean, ascending large intestine, the small intestine, just really everything. And even in the back a little bit, the kidney and the adrenal gland, what you're having is you're stimulating circulation all to that area, and you're stimulating it all to move into the relaxed state so that it can heal. And this pack feedbacks up to the nervous system and promotes oxytocin production. And oxytocin, super important hormone for women, is because oxytocin is a love and connection molecule, and oxytocin compensates for all those high levels of cortisol and stress molecule that are flowing through our bodies constantly, because as women, we're just programmed to be more on stress alert because we're programmed to protect our babies. And babies need protection. So if we aren't programmed to be on high response for stress alert, then we can't protect our babies. And so us learning in this day and age where we don't have lions coming to eat our babies, we don't have Tyrannosaurus Rex attacking us, what we want to do is just keep on training our body to be in the relaxed state more often. So every single time you put on a castor oil pack, it is basically like an escape button on the computer, which moves you into relaxed state. So you can sleep better, you can then poop better, and you stress less. So it's a 2-action castor oil pack. You absolutely need the pack, and you absolutely need the oil. You can't just only do oil on the body and put an oil t-shirt, because you miss probably the most important part of it, which is relaxing the system. It's awesome.
So what do you call the cloth? What do you call that?
So it's known as a compress or a pack. So that's why
okay.
Castor oil pack.
Okay.
Right?
So
that's professional name.
Dr. Marisol's on video, so we can kind of see what her pack cloth, the compress looks like. Yeah. But if you're listening, can you kind of explain that? That looks pretty convenient and less messy, and tell us the pros of what you've designed.
Yeah, so the old way of doing the castor oil pack was, to do like a 12-step program. It was so intense. You had to go and find organic cotton. You had to saturate it completely with oil in the oven, put it on your body, wrap yourself with saran wrap, and then you would make a mess. It was horrendous.
And did you do that?
Yeah, no one would want to do it. Honestly, Dr. Stephanie, this is why for 10 years, people were telling me to do it. And I was like, forget not interested, not going to do it. So what I did here is I made it, this is my second version. My first version was square and it didn't really fit the female body very well. And so what I ended up doing was I created it in the form of a figure 8. So it's basically an organic cotton flannel, which is in the form of a figure 8. And the outside has a non-toxic barrier material that is made without heavy metals, without any of the common contaminants. So it's safe for the body, because this is, my clinic works and focuses mainly on cleansing and detoxification. Right. So we see a lot of farmers, right? We see a lot of people who have high levels of toxins, pesticides, chemicals, mold exposure. So we really want to be cautious of what we're doing with our therapies to make sure we're using the best product. And same with our oil. Our oil is 100% organic. I get the highest quality. It's a first press, so it has the highest nourishment and vitamins within it, vitamin E, lots of things that help with that recycling of glutathione. And we package it in a glass bottle, because you never want to buy castor oil ever. This is the oil you never buy in plastic, because it just will not work, because the castor oil will grab the plastic and bring it into your body. So you do not ever, and I tell anyone who comes to my clinic or any of my patients that they have a bottle of castor oil in plastic to dispose of it immediately. And even online, we see people commenting, I was using other castor oils and they never worked. And now suddenly I use yours and boom, it works so well. But it's because of that aspect, right? They were adding more toxins in with that castor oil being in a glass bottle. So never in a glass bottle. So the pack, and then it has straps, and it's conveniently made to attach onto your body over your liver, which is underneath of your right rib cage. And literally you put it on and you wear it for only 1 hour minimum. And then even better, you wear it overnight. And that's where you'll get the best effect, because obviously The more real estate time you have on that body, the better it is for you.
Sure.
And see, this to me was why I wasn't getting better when I was just taking the supplements and doing the exercise and the right foods and all those things, was because I was trying to heal a very damaged gut, which had, 15 to 20 years of damage to it, right? I'd been abusive in terms of smoking and drinking and, things I don't really do these days, obviously. But I wasn't eating healthy. I was eating a high fat meal. I was eating a young teenager meal, like move out of your house, fast food kind of thing. So a lot of damage I was doing to my body. And I grew up in a farm town on the edge of farming as well too. So I had a lot of exposures as well too. So what I realized was that I was expecting a supplement the size of a quarter of my fingernail to heal my gut every day, which is the size of a football field. I just wasn't getting enough real estate time to really truly heal. And plus my gut was damaged. So how did I expect my gut to actually absorb those supplements well? What I was doing was I was spending thousands of dollars, and I needed the supplements. Don't get me wrong. You need the supplements. But what I needed to do was that I needed to help fix my gut from the outside in so I could have better healing. Because it is very challenging to heal a gut, especially when there are things like biofilm affecting the gut, affecting your absorption. For those that don't know, biofilm is like a barrier that, bad bacteria create or bad yeasts create in order to like protect themselves. So it makes it very difficult for antimicrobials or even things to get through that barrier and be absorbed into the body.
Think of a rope that has slime or sludge over it, right? If you put a rope in water for a long time, and it's going to develop, like if you're near the water, you know what I'm talking about. That is an analogy that I give with my patients to biofilm. So that could be it can be difficult to penetrate into, right? So to kill off the bacteria and the yeast, whatnot.
Is so difficult. So and one of the actions of castor oil, that nitric oxide, is actually antifungal. So it's really good for candida and very good for helping to reset the microbiome. And in fact, they're using castor oil as oil washes for people who have dentures or have problems with their oral health. So you can actually do what's called a traditional oil pulling with castor oil. It's so good, where you just take 1 to 2 teaspoons in your mouth. You swish it only for 1 to 2 minutes, very, very short, not 20 minutes like you had to do with coconut oil, because coconut oil doesn't have this effect. And you spit it out. So it's a super way to you start your microbiome healthy from the oral cavity, moving all the way down. So this is kind of the practices that I do with all my patients. We do the castor oil pack. We make sure that they get all that real estate time, healing the gut from the outside in. And then, of course, supplementing them with supplements too, because you need those supplements. You can't live without those supplements. Like there's things that we are deficient in, we're not getting from our food. We have higher demands on and needs for those supplements when we're sicker. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that it's absorbing really, really well, so we get the maximum benefit. And what I ended up seeing for myself, and then of course I saw that in my patients thousands of times, was that, when they would first come to me, they were on a boatload of supplements. And then by the time we started getting those castor oil packs on their bodies every night, at least, or trying to get it every night, I understand no one's perfect and that's okay. Just try to do it as much as you can, make it a priority. But I started noticing that I could get them off of their supplements and they didn't have to take as much of a dose of the supplements. And that would save them money over time. And then they would be happier and feel better. And then when they didn't feel so good, I was like, are you doing your castor oil pack? And then a lot of it would always be like, oh, I've kind of fallen off the cart, off the boat on that one. I'm like, get back on. And sure enough, they'd feel better. And I started telling my patients, like, you're coming to me and you're spending hundreds of dollars for the visit. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, get back on your practice, do your castor oil pack. Like, I love the visit for sure, but just make sure you're doing the castor oil pack. So I've been in practice for over a decade, and it's so cool to see my very, very first patients who are still with me today doing great. I barely see them now, but we communicate on, we do little check-ins and stuff only when things are going a little haywire or something new has popped up. But they are diligent. They do their castor oil packs, and they have a less of a need to see me. And to me, that makes me so ultimately happy, because I never got into the business to make money off of my patients or to deal with sickness. I got into this business to deal with health and how people live in their purpose and their passion.
Mhm.
And that has always been my goal. And so if I see them less, I know that they are going to be raving fans. They're going to send me more people that I can help, and then I can help more people. And then we could spread the word of living better and having that longevity and that amazing life where we can live in our purpose and our passion because we feel good in our body. We can sleep better, we can stress less, and we can poop better. And everyone feels better when they have those three things better.
Totally agreed. I love that too. I've been in practice, it sounds like, about as long as you. And I love a lot of patients who once came to me very sick. I love seeing them now less frequently, right? Maybe once a year just for their annual check-in, and they're doing great. And it's so encouraging. And it's just that accountability piece, right?
Yeah, you continue as their coach and you just see
Yeah.
them always do check-ins, but we love that they're, they're staying on plan. Like we do recommend for patients, and I'm sure you do too, to be on supplements long-term because it's a
Yep.
necessity. But we always also say to them, like if you want to get off those supplements long-term or have less to take, keep on doing those castor oil packs because you're going to keep on healing that gut. And, the gut is that area. It's truly our outside on the inside. So it just gets so many insults on a regular basis. And, it's something that we do truly have to maintain, just like our homes, right? Our homes
Yep.
on the outside, if we just let Mother Nature, do its thing on it, well, Mother Nature is going to do its thing and create, everything on it. It's going to break things down. Animals are going to grow in different places, like trees will grow in places you don't want them. We have to maintain things. So the gut is the outside on the inside. It is also the hub of the hormonal system, the nervous system, and the immune system. And we must absolutely pay so much attention to it because if our hormones are off, it's because our gut is off. If our immune system is off, it's because our gut is off. And if our nervous system is off, we're anxious, depressed, it's because our gut is off.
Totally agreed. And you probably don't know this, but my book that I wrote, Your Longevity Blueprint, a few years back, focuses on the analogy where we are comparing how we would maintain our home to how we should be maintaining our body. So chapter 1 is all about comparing the foundation of your home that has to be strong to support the weight of the entire house, right, to your gut, because I totally agree, right? Gut health is the foundation of health. Now, chapter 5 in that book is all about detoxing. I'm comparing the laundry room, right, which has a constant insult of dirty clothes, dirty laundry that needs to be washed, dried, folded, put away, right? Comparing constantly, it doesn't stop, right? You don't just wash your clothes once your entire life. You have that constant influx, that constant burden, right? Which ours has increased now with the child. We have more than that. So I'm comparing that to the liver and gallbladder in the body. So chapter 5, I did not include castor oil packs, but I want to do a rewrite. So round 2, I'm sure I'll be including castor oil packs because what I'm hearing from you, I think one of the main benefits is it does get us in that it calms the fight or flight, calms us down so our body can detox. We need to detox to feel better, right? That's part of healing chronic disease. So when I think of castor oil packs as helping with detox, since this is a detox month where we're launching these episodes, we've also talked about the benefits of infrared sauna therapy, which is also very helpful, right? But with any modality, I should say, of detoxing, you don't want to detox too much too quick, especially if you're really sick, right? You don't go sit in a sauna for an hour, 5 days a week. You might only last 10, 20 minutes, maybe not even that your first round. So I want to go back to, I know you kind of hit a little bit on how important maintenance is, but I want to go back to how someone gets started. And that may depend on how sick they are. But how frequently, I know you're saying, hey, more real estate is better, right? Longer, wear it overnight. But how would a listener start? How frequently are they going to start using it? How frequently can they use it if they tolerate it more, and then get to maintenance? So let's kind of walk the listeners through that.
Well, number one, Dr. Stephanie, I want your book. I love your analogy.
I'll send it to you.
This has been great. I've been like, oh my God, I love that analogy. I'm totally going to borrow them because I just loved about the battery. That was just great. And it's so good. And the slimy rope is perfect. And I love the house. I do it. You got to take your garbage out every single week, right? Like it keeps on coming. You just got to keep on taking it out, right? So that is the key. So here's the cool thing with castor oil packs when it comes to like how to start. In my clinical practice, all we do is cleanses pretty much. Cause I'm like you, I'm pretty sure if I'm going to come visit you in Iowa, and I'm sure I'm going to be, and you're come visit me and you're going to be like, okay, we have like the same practice. So here's the thing is that we make it mandatory on every single cleanse a patient undertakes. And we start them doing their castor oil packs before we even get them started on the cleanse. And we have an absolutely like 1% problems with Herxheimer response rate. That's
awesome. That's promising. Yeah.
And it's because of the shift into the relaxed state with the castor oil packs, and that's why we prep them up before they actually do the cleanse, because we really want to make sure that they do the castor oil pack through the entire cleanse, because we're
Yeah.
doing IV therapy, we're doing colon
Yep.
hydrotherapy, like we're mobilizing
Yeah.
a lot, chelation, all those types of things, right? So we're really mobilizing a lot of things out of the system, and we deal with a lot of autoimmunity, a lot of cancer,
Yeah.
the typical things that do occur when you have a rural practice, right? Which I have. And so we really people respond incredibly well to it. So most people don't have a problem doing the 1 hour a night or overnight. Now there is a segment of the population, that little 1%, who tends to be also people who come to see us because they're dealing with things, but it's still low. So if people do have an issue with starting the pack, I always say just start it off, because you really only use 2 tablespoons on the pack, and the shift on the nervous system, and as the castor oil starts moving into the body, you start getting effectiveness. If they find it's too much, then what we say is just use less oil, but keep on doing the pack. So just
For
start
an
off.
hour. Okay.
Exactly. So start off with maybe one teaspoon, build up to 1 tablespoon, and then build up to a tablespoon and a half, and then just see how they do, and then just wear it for the hour, and then try to build up to going overnight. But honestly, the response, like most people respond really well. It's really just like a 1%, even online, like we notice it too, that we have just really great comments, very few people who complain. And
That's
normally,
good.
yeah, normally the people who complain or people who have problems are normally the ones who speak up, right? But we have mostly just all good comments. So just really taking it step by step and just seeing how it does for you, knowing that it's a treatment that is really, really, really well tolerated.
Okay.
And it sets your body up great to start into that cleansing and detox. And you can combine it with your modalities. So you can use it with infrared lights. You can use it with saunas. You can even put herbal
You mean
botanical.
wear it while you're in the sauna? Is that what you're saying? Like literally combine? Okay. Want to
Oh,
make sure I heard you right. Okay.
oh yeah, and you can even put like essential oils on the pack. Like you can use some gelsemium if you want to for like liver. You can, I love frankincense. Like there's certain ones that I combine with it, and so it's a patient by patient situation, obviously with those things. Or if someone has a little bit excess stress, I'll throw in a little bit of lavender, or especially if they have like viral load, because lavender is very good for viral load, so that'll help even more. So if they have like an Epstein-Barr virus situation with chronic fatigue, a little bit of lavender goes a long way with the castor oil. So it's really an incredible system. And this is the thing, castor oil packs, it's not another supplement. It's a new system. And this new system, what it does is it builds that foundation, those foundational pillars, because it gets your digestion, your absorption, and your elimination going well. It gives you antioxidants that are key, nitric oxide, glutathione. It balances out that inflammation. We need a little bit of inflammation, but not too much.
So can it make you go too well? Like do patients get diarrhea on this?
You know what? Even IBS, like when I started using them, it was a combination of IBS between diarrhea and constipation. So the times that I would have diarrhea, like severe, like I couldn't even leave the house, but it would actually regulate it. So castor oil packs are
Okay.
regulating because they work on the nervous system. So whether
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
yeah, whether you're like you're losing your bowels and can't hold them, or you hold it in too much, it just sets the system to like allow it to let go in a normal way. And
Sure.
then that calming aspect is important, and then that microbiome aspect is everything. And those really end up those are the 5 pillars of the foundation of healing: is microbiome, inflammation, stress reduction,
Yep.
nourishment, and getting your gut moving well. So it really is like, it's the first thing I prescribe with patients. They walk in, I ask them always about their sleep, their stools, their stress, and then we get into the details of their label or their condition, as I said earlier on. And then we start them with this, of course, things like probiotics, depending on the severity of their gut issues, just to start, supplementing
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
And then making sure we assess their sleep. And it's really, it always astounds me, because again, I think back to those 10 years ago, and I was resistant. I wish I would have started like I wish I would have started it like, wait, it would have been 20 years I would be doing castor oil packs. I've been doing them for 10 years now, but it took me 10 years to warm up to them. So I
Sure.
hope the listeners out there don't take 10 years to warm up to it, that they take action and move in the right direction. Because when you have the power and the ability to change those 3 foundational, like those three things that are really annoyances in your life, right? Like not being able to go to the bathroom properly is totally annoying. It's like, and not sleeping properly really wrecks your day, makes you eat more because, you can't control your appetite because it's proven in science. When you don't get a good night's sleep, you want to eat more, you feel more feelings of depression, you feel unfunctional. And then that stress aspect, which, so many of us women deal with. It is just such a comforting thing to know that I'm making that change in the world for people. And I'm just so looking forward to reaching out. My goal is 1 billion people doing castor oil packs. So that's
Wow. Yeah.
the world. So I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Make hairy audacious goal. Good goal. Yeah. So let me go back. I want to ask a couple questions. So I have so many questions, but I'll try to keep them to a few. So I'm assuming you're recommending this be used at night because it is calming, right? And if it is going to boost progesterone, like someone could, sure, they could use it during the day if they're using their sauna, but you are recommending it strategically for nighttime use, right?
Yeah.
And then I mean, to be honest, I've never done this. So like you literally just drop the oil on the pack and you just kind of, it just like.
So you literally take the pack, you got the pack here, and then all you do, you make sure that it's a soft cotton flannel aspect that is next to your skin. And in the middle, you pour 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
And all you do is you just stand up and you put it on your liver and tie it up in the back.
Wrap it around. Okay.
It's less than 2 minutes. So simple. And that was the thing, like that was the big game changer for people, because we had people who are loyal royal subjects, we call them, to the Queen of the Thrones. And they just say, what a game changer. Like they were doing the old way and they would maybe do it once a week, maybe, and now that they have this, they can do it all the time. Now you do need to replace the compress. This is very important.
I was just going to ask how dirty or icky is it going to be? How do you wash it? Or
yeah, you can wash it usually about every 15 treatments. It isn't perfect after you wash it because, of course, castor oil is one of those oils that's very sticky and sticks onto things, but you can wash it. We do recommend after about 2 months to replace it because it is unknown in the research, and I have yet to be able to find out. I'm trying to do some research study around it, whether or not the castor oil brings toxins back into the pack. And that's one of the because dermal movement of toxins is a high possibility. So that's one of the reasons too why we always request people to apply a new layer of oil each time. So then that way they're getting the new fresh oil going in, and the oil is moving deeper into the compress, into the plastic part. And then that also creates a natural barrier. So it's really strategically designed with, of course, like you and I have that similar practice, limiting the amount of toxins that people can get exposed to completely, and really how can we optimize all those functions that are just absolutely key.
Good. Thank you for addressing that. And if they're listening and they've had their gallbladder removed, I'm sure you can still use this. There's no, contraindication. You probably need it even more because you don't have that organ anymore.
Fat absorbability, and it really does wonders for them. Yeah.
So I want to go back to that frequency just to clarify. So you're basically saying you can start nightly. You can just start using it nightly. Okay. And then for maintenance, is it still nightly, or is it maybe every other night, once a week, or?
So I still always say nightly because I'm of the firm belief you got to take your garbage out every day, especially your compost.
Okay.
We want to keep it moving, but knowing that I'm also human, and I'm not perfect, and I know my patients aren't perfect either, and that's okay. So at least if they try to aim to do it at least 3 to 5 times a week would be perfect. And one thing for women who are in menopause, sometimes you might find it uncomfortable to do it at nighttime initially because they're having, raging hot flashes and night sweats, and then they put this pack on and it naturally heats up. So it does create heat. It's really nice for those who have thyroid problems because they're always feeling a bit chillier.
Sure.
So put on the pack, it nice and warms you up. But those in menopause find it a little more uncomfortable. So what I say to do there is that start doing it in the daytime, because when you're doing it in the daytime, you're going to start to rev up those cleansing processes. They'll work, they'll get improved, and then you can start little by little bringing it into your nighttime practice. And that nighttime practice is really awesome because in traditional Chinese medicine, between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. is the most active hours for the liver. And between the hours of 9 p.m. and 11 a.m. is the gallbladder. So that's
why you got to get to bed early, right?
That's exactly because you want the gallbladder dumping, because over the nighttime is when we cleanse, is when we do the majority of our cleansing. So the gallbladder will dump all the toxins that are contained in the fat. Everything gets more processed in the liver, starts moving into the gallbladder. The digestive system starts to move things because it's been without food. So peristalsis is working, all preparing you to go wake up in the morning and have a beautiful bowel movement to eliminate everything that you cleaned over nighttime. So that's why I do prefer it at night. But there are situations like those women in menopause
Sure.
that I feel you and I know you. So, I want to make sure you do it at the right time so that you're the most comfortable with this new system.
Thank you. Okay. This may be a simple question and we probably should have opened with this, but where does castor oil come from? Like what
I love
plant? I
it.
don't even know. I don't even know.
And it's rampant in the Mediterranean basin, so it's from like the Holy Land. So you can find it all over the Holy Land. It's also even said to have been used the anointing oil that's in the Bible or potentially
Yeah.
castor oil. And there
Yeah.
are references to the gourds of castor oil in the Bible, so that's really beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. They
Yeah.
also they also say that there's a huge spiritual component to castor oil, that it is a very connecting oil. So I love that about that as well, because when you feel calm like that and you're in that present moment, that's where you are connected closer to God and you feel very, very well in your body, or whatever it is for the people, if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
or the source or whatever they feel.
Yeah.
But and they also, and the practice of anointing kings and queens that has come along the ages, it was said to be castor oil because it's sticky, so it sticks there and it doesn't run all over their face. Isn't that interesting?
That
So
is. Yeah.
yeah, you can find it all over the Mediterranean basin. You can find it in China, in India, and in Brazil. It's hot tropical climates. I've even seen it. I had a little plant in my clinic. Unfortunately, I'm in a northern country. We've got lots of snow right now. So it didn't last too long in the wintertime. But I've seen it in British Columbia. I mean, I've seen it in Niagara Falls, Canada, and US. And I've seen it definitely in California and different places where people have it. It is something to be careful with as well, too, because it is a vegetarian oil. But and the castor bean is this is the coolest thing about it. The castor bean is the perfect example of yin and yang, so the polarity in life. Something can give us complete life, as the castor oil can give us complete life back. And then the bean, however, its dark side is that the bean contains ricin, and ricin is actually used as biological warfare and can kill people in 6 hours. Yes.
Wow.
But never fear, and this is a question I get a lot, so I'm glad we brought this up. There is none of that in the oil. The oil is completely healthy for you.
How do you know? Because my next question is, how do I know what quality I'm getting, right? But that's important for supplements. That's important for food. And I'm sure it's important for castor oil. And you already pointed out, do not purchase castor oil that's stored in plastic. But how do we know we're getting a high quality castor oil? Like, is it going to say organic, or like, tell us the clinical pearls and tell us about your product?
Awesome. So what you're looking for, so the ricin is in the protein. So when it's extracted, when it's cold pressed, it's the best way to extract that ricin, that negative side out, and it's not even in it. So no worries there. But what you're looking for is for it to be, you don't want your castor oil to be processed with chemicals. And most of them on the market, I'm going to tell you, they're processed with hexane. And that's what you want to avoid. Absolutely. And same thing, you do not want to buy a non-organic castor oil. So on Amazon, on many of those different places, you're finding mostly, not really high quality castor oil. You're looking for Queen of the Thrones brand. Honestly, this is what I do. This is what I do. I go very best castor oil. Therefore I have the very best, because I use it on every part of my body, on all my children, on all my patients, on my family. These are all people I love and care for deeply. I would never put anything into their body that isn't 100%. So you're looking for 100% organic always, because remember, castor oil is that oil that grabs onto everything. So it loves taking anything in, but that's also how in your body, it grabs onto those toxins and moves them out of your body, right? So that's what we want from it. Hexane free. It must be cold pressed, and ours is first off the press, like olive oil. So as you know, when you get first, or olive oil, like the virgin, you get higher nourishment in it. And castor oil has so much nourishment, vitamin E, lots of amazing polyphenols, all having antioxidant properties. And so I just wanted to be jam-packed full of that, because this is one of my main things in my practice. Yeah.
Well, you answered that question. Okay, so now I have two more questions though, because you mentioned your children. So how young, do your kids use castor oil pens?
Oh yeah, they're awesome. I mean, they could be more religious with it, but that's always, now they're teenagers, so that's challenging to get them to be religious with anything. But they have been, and whenever they're not feeling well, they know the first thing that they go for is their castor oil pack, and it always helps them. Like, it's just like if they're feeling sick or under the weather. My daughter went to university, and when you leave the home, you act a little differently. You're not eating the right foods, and the first thing she calls me, she's like, I forgot my castor oil pack. I overate like a fast food chain food. she's like, I need a castor oil pack, Mom. Can you send it to me? So, of course we sent it to her. But the thing with castor oil packs is that everybody can use them except one person that is a woman who's pregnant. So we have patients, moms do them with their kids, their sons, moms do them with their daughters. Like they just like, it's kind of like their personal time at night. They put on their packs, they do story time. Like we have all these reports of all these great, like it's like a family thing that they do. Husbands and wives do them together. And a bonus of a husband and wife doing them together is the oxytocin boost they get, because it makes them more loving and they have better lovemaking. So that's kind of a bonus. We love that. Oxytocin helps to make that a little bit more natural. So lots of bonuses there. And really pregnancy, the reason why we don't use it is castor oil has been used traditionally by midwives orally to stimulate birth, right? Especially like on a late childbirth. So with castor oil, we and it does move the smooth muscles, right? There, those prostaglandins move the smooth muscles. So we, in case, don't want to risk anything during pregnancy. But it's super safe to use up until getting pregnant. If you're actively trying, you want to cycle castor oil. So you do it from the time you bleed up until ovulation.
And then not after, just in case you were to conceive. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah.
And then moms, breastfeeding mamas and babies, the best time to start castor oil, because in that first year where they're setting up their gut, mama's doing a castor oil baby rubs in, the U-shaped direction of the intestine, massaging
on the baby. Yeah, the massage on the baby. Yep.
And the mama doing it on her, because then the baby's getting in the body and keeping clean, and their gut is getting like really well created. They'll have a healthier microbiome. They'll have less risk of food sensitivities and allergies. Like you set up your baby for super health, and colic is reduced, sleeping is better on the baby. Like it is a wonder. Like we have all the babies that are within our practice have such a low allergic response rate. And that being said, in a region where children have some of the highest allergic response rates in terms of foods and sensitivities, like because of the practice of getting the moms early on to do those rubs. It's so cool. Yeah. So cool.
Exciting. Yay.
Yeah.
So I keep saying one more question, but you did allude to using this all over your body. And I know that many of my female patients struggle with hair loss. And so I do want you to share how you use it for hair growth also, please.
Awesome. So we do it so this is the Cleopatra loved using castor oil for hair. That was what she was known for her beautiful eyebrows. And she owed it all to castor oil, that and her eyes. So castor oil, we actually have what's called the beauty sleep kit. So which is an entire little kit that is created specifically to help with the eyebrows and eyelashes and aging, right? Anti-aging, because again, castor oil goes deep into the tissues. So it goes into the dermis where the collagen lies, and it helps to plump up the area. So you can get rid of dark circles under the eyes. You can even reduce the fine lines around the eyes. And then in our kit, we have an awesome little spoolie brush where you actually apply castor oil directly to the eyebrows and to the eyelashes as well too, right? So you use this little eye brush and the eyelashes, and then you do the same thing. You put the castor oil, soak it around your eyes where you would have dark circles and where you would have potentially a little bit of wrinkles, crow's eyes.
Like once a day
before going to bed. Okay. And then again, so it's a whole little nighttime routine. You wear an eye mask to go to sleep. And this is like a castor oil pack, but for your eyes. And the benefits of this are many. Number one, just even using an eye mask that has a soft material against the skin to sleep naturally boosts and stimulates your melatonin without having a supplement. So that's awesome, because women, as we age, our melatonin naturally reduces, and melatonin is so near and dear to my heart because higher levels of it prevents hormonally based cancers. That's super important. I really want all my women wearing eye masks every night just to naturally boost it without having to take another supplement. And then the other benefit is that you get the deeper permeation, and you sleep well, and then you're getting that anti-aging while you sleep, and your eyebrows and eyelashes can grow a lot better. So that's a super easy way to do it. It's a great practice I have my patients do with their castor oil pack. It's a 2-minute routine at night. Put on your pack, put on your eye mask, go to bed, sleep great, love it. And weekly, you can do hair mask treatments. So same kind of a principle, castor oil pack, but for your hair, especially women with thyroid conditions, menopause, where we start to get the patchy baldness, problems in the receding hairlines. Same principle, apply the castor oil into the roots and I have short hair. And if you have long hair like you do, what you do is you just only apply the castor oil into the roots, not the entire length of the hair, just into the roots where there could be damage, and into the scalp where we need to nourish, get the nitric oxide functioning.
Yeah, it's going to help with blood flow, right? So,
Blood
okay.
flow, reducing the fungal that might be causing a problem as well too, right? Because there's certain bacteria or funguses that can cause problems in terms of the allowing nourishment into the root of the hair.
So
And then
literally just massage, like just
yeah,
massage. Okay.
massage. And we actually have a hair pick that comes, we have a whole kit for it. So a hair pick that you can do a natural little massaging of your scalp to really get the circulation moving. And then you put on this fancy pantsy, look at this. Yeah, a hair wrap, which naturally heats. So this is kind of like, do you ever remember those old hot oil hair treatments when you were younger? Did you ever do those?
I don't think I did, but I've seen them on TV. Like you see pictures of old ladies doing their, yeah.
Exactly. So this is the same thing, but it's natural with castor oil, and you wear that for about an hour. You don't go to sleep with it, because unless you're okay with getting your sheets a bit messy, but don't go to sleep with this, because it's your hair. You just want to do it only for an hour. And for women who are having like just slight problems with hair loss, you could do it once a week. And if you know that you've been having severe amounts of hair loss, I recommend people to do it twice a week. Cancer patients, we have them do it a little bit more, especially during their chemotherapy treatments and such, just to make sure that they can either prevent hair loss, or when it comes back really beautifully and thick and faster.
Awesome.
So cool way. I know, I love castor.
Tip followed by tip followed by tip. Okay, so if our listeners still want to know more,
Exactly.
tell us what free gift you have for the audience.
Well, I'm a firm believer that understanding, the ancient doctors always used to say, know thyself. And when you understand yourself, there's so much more that you can do and help yourself on a daily, regular basis. And one of my favorite ways to assess the body is through understanding your stools. So we're offering for free a free download known as the 50 Shades of Poo. Now, that for people is the very, very first step, which is going to give them a really good understanding of what the color of their stool says about them. And then you can go in from there into the next step on the journey and learn about all the 11 golden nuggets. So there's actually 11 measures of your stools that you can, when you start getting those daily poos, especially by doing those castor oil packs, what will happen is that you'll be able to be doing a day-to-day assessment of how your health is doing. And then you can start to see the actual impact of the foods you're eating, the stress levels you're having, that fight you had with a friend, or mother-in-law or husband or children or whatever the case may be. You can actually start to realize the impactors on your body and on your gut. And it is such a great way, honestly, to know thyself. And I look at it for patients as a like day-to-day lab test that they can do for free. Right. So when you understand the messages that your body's telling you, then, day to day, you can be having a great understanding. And when you go to see your practitioner, like you or I, right, what ends up happening is you can be more vocal about what's happening in your body. As an example, sticky poos. If you're wiping your bum more than once, you should wipe, and your paper should come clean. If it's sticky and there's stuff on the paper, you could potentially be having food sensitivity, something you ate 72 hours before. You could have a bad microbiome, right? Something we want to look at, right? So there's lots of little indicators of things not going right, detoxification not working well, lots of different things. So I really love people to understand that. So we're offering that for free for people, and I hope you take advantage of it.
So I'll post a link to that 50 Shades of Poop or Poo, in the show notes. I ask all of my listeners their top longevity tip. So I know you've probably already given us several, but what's your top longevity tip?
Honestly, is just looking at what your daily patterns are like, understanding who you are, looking at those three most important: your sleep, your stress, and your stools, the 3 S's. Honestly, when you are commanding those, and when you are owning them, and you are being that queen on their throne, and understanding, what your stool is telling you, what your sleep is telling you, and what your stress levels are telling you, that just is a complete game changer for your life. And it does more wonders than any supplement, any tool could do, is just having an understanding of who you are. And it's easy. It's not like you don't need to get a university degree to get this information. You just need to understand the simple messages of your body and open them up and learn them and read them. And I truly feel that is my greatest gift to the world with castor oil packs, is having people understand those 3 aspects of their body, and starting early with their children, so that their children can be empowered and prevent them from getting those labels of conditions like thyroid and menopause,
IBS,
IBS and cancer,
eczema, whatever.
heart disease, diabetes and, all these things, luckily my mother, to wrap it all up, she ended up beating that cancer with not a sign of cancer and lived a beautiful life, healthier than ever for, another 10, 11 years post it. And then she just died of natural causes, which was her time. And what a wonderful way to go, and her parting words to me were always, and she would say this to me every single time that I would help her, give her tips, or, have her remind her to do her miracle wrap. She would say to me, she'd always say, Marisol, like, keep on doing what you're doing and just be patient with patients and just keep them on the pathway and keep telling them and teaching them and showing what they're doing because you are changing lives. And please, for me, keep on doing that. And that's what I'm here for, is literally just to help people do that. I want to see people change their lives, and I want to see them own their throne, because everyone is a queen and they deserve to be that queen, and they deserve to have their queendoms be amazing, right? They deserve it.
I love that. I'm sure you were a huge part of your mother's recovery and healing, and I think beautiful story. So thank you for sharing that. Well, you've convinced me. I'm sure you've convinced the listener. So where do we get your castor oil pack? So you have a company, so you have the different kits, right?
We sure do. Yeah, we've got all the kits available. We're going to give you a link, so you'll have that link in your show notes, which would be great. And it's at drmarisol.com. So there they can find out everything about poo and sleep and stress. And so
you have great Instagram, Queen of Thrones, right?
Yes.
Where listeners can find you.
Queen of the Thrones, and Facebook Queen of the Thrones, and YouTube as well too. So.
Well, thank you so much. This wraps up a amazing detox month. We've had lots of speakers on with different strategies, and this was by far one of the most fun interviews. So thank you so much for coming on the show and really just empowering us to, like you said, own that throne and teach us all of the beneficial uses of castor oil. So thank you so much for your time and for your passion.
Oh, absolutely, pleasure. Thanks so much, Dr. Stephanie. Bye, everybody.